So this is the first revision sheet that I've given you, just general revision. For some reason it said simplify the following and then it's blank, but what actually was supposed to be there was this here. I'm sure that I've showed you this before, but for me, in order to problem solve, if I'm not sure how to simplify that, well, I usually solve a simpler problem. Solve one from primary school. You know, if I had fractions, I had 4/6. I would factorize the top, factorize the bottom, and then simplify. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to factorize the top. What of my 6 methods is it? It's the difference of 2 squares. And I'm going to factorize the bottom. What is it? It's the difference of 2 cubes. And now that I've factorized, I can simplify. So I'm left with a plus b all over a squared plus ab plus b squared. If I wanted to try and simplify further, I would have to factorize again and then try and simplify. I can't factorize the top, just taking a 1 out in common, and I can't factorize the bottom. You can check if you want. So question 2 then was this. It was, they wanted me to factorize this fully. So for me, it's not common factor. It's not actually jumping out to me what it is. It's not grouping. It's not a trinomial. It's certainly not the sum of 2 cubes. Could be the difference of 2 squares or the difference of 2 cubes. So is there any way to rewrite this as a square? Yes, y squared to b squared. And then put down your 2 brackets. It's the first minus the second and the first plus the second. So to factorize fully, so I need to just check, can either of these be factorized again? So common factor, no. Grouping, no. Trinomial, no. Difference 2 squares, yes. First minus the second, first plus the second. And then can this be factorized further? Common factor, no. Grouping, no. Trinomial, no. Difference 2 squares, no. Difference 2 cubes, no. Sum of 2 cubes, no. Done. That's it, fully factorized. Third question on the sheet is to show that this was a factor of this. 2 ways of doing this. If I have a factor, I can do long division. What do I multiply 2x by to give me a 2x cubed, x squared. Multiply this out and subtract. That gives me 6x squared. And I take down the rest of my sum. Once you've that bit done, you know you can do the rest. So what do I multiply 2x by to give me 3x squared, to give me 6x squared at 3x. So that's 6x squared minus 3x, and I subtract. Which gives me, now I'm just actually going to check that I take that down right. So 2x cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x minus 3 and 2x minus 1 is a factor. Sure, 2x minus 1 is a factor. So that gives me 1x squared. Oh, sorry, that gives me an 8x. There you go. So things weren't starting to work out for me, so I was trying to see what it was, which gives me a 4x. That gives me 4x squared. No, sorry, that gives me 8x squared. Easy make mistakes here. And minus 4x. And I subtract. That's gone, and I end up with 6x minus 3. What do I multiply 2x by to give me 6x? I multiply it by a 3 and I end up with 6x minus 3, subtract, and I end remainder 0. So yes, it is a factor because I can do long division, and when I divided it in, it was a factor. The other way to do it is if I have a factor, then I automatically know that I have a root. And I can sub that in, and if I sub in my root, no reason that I put that in brackets, I just accidentally did there. So let's sub in 2 times minus a half cubed plus 7 times minus a half squared plus 2 times minus a half minus 3. And if this is right, if it is a root, then I should end up with 0. So that's 2 times, and then I do the indices first. So minus 1 over 8 plus, that gives me 7 times a quarter, and that gives me minus 1 minus 3. So 2 times 1/8 is minus 2/8 plus 7 times a quarter, 7 over 4, minus 1 minus 3. So that gives me minus a quarter plus 7 over 3 plus 7 over 4 minus 1 minus 3. And so that gives me minus 4. And that gives me 6 over 4. So I've made some sort of small error here, maybe. Oh, my error is all the way back here at the start. It's a minus 1, comes over to be a plus 1. I'm not having a good... So... So that's 2/8 and 7 over 4. Well, 2/8 is a quarter. It's 8 over 4. Sorry, it's plus 1. Plus 1 minus 3 does give me 0. And after all those messing up, I do work out that long division, yes, it divides in evenly, no remainder. And subbing in, probably should have just used my calculator, even though I had made the mistake back here. So if this is a factor, then plus a half is the root, and I sub in plus a half, and I should end up with 0, which I do eventually.